My oh my, how things change. Islanders, don't you remember a time not so long ago that you and I would look to the CDC and look to cruise lines for protocols on what needed to take place in order for us to cruise? I remember for months and months, cancellation after cancellation, we finally got the protocols in which ships were able to restart in late June and in July. A lot of us Islanders have been on cruises since then, and we keep our eyes fixed on the CDC and cruise lines. But things are changing. Protocols are changing. We have a lot of detail for you today regarding protocols for the remainder of this year and into 22, and I'll give you a hint right now. The CDC and cruise lines who have controlled these protocols and used to have all the power are having less and less power every day. Let's talk about the cruise news right now on Island Time. A big hello to all you Islanders. It is Wednesday. I hope you're having a great time. You have found yourself on Island Time. I am your host, Derek, and we're going to spend some time in the islands together today. 1 week from today, it is wheels up from Little Rock. We're going to land in Houston. We're driving to Galveston. I will be there all day. If you're in the area, let me know. We board the Carnival Breeze a week from tomorrow. How about that? I want you to task me with some things that you need to know. In the comments below, let me know the things that you want to see, particular about the Carnival Breeze, whether it is venues on the ship, it is bars, it is restaurants, it's food, or is there a broader spectrum of things you want to see? It could be protocols, Carnival protocols, the embarkation, debarkation process. Do you have questions about Cozumel? That's where we're going on our 4-day cruise. You let me know what I need to see. I'm writing my list down right now of things that I need to check out, and they come from you. Let me know. Okay, let's get started with this news. There's so much going on, and it continues to change all the time. For months and months, all of us have looked to the CDC and cruise lines to tell us what we need to do to cruise. A lot of us will do whatever we need to do. If it's reasonable, if it's in line with what makes sense, if it's logical, scientific based, we'll do it. And so many of us Islanders have cruised, we really have, in the last 90 days of this cruise restart. But things are really starting to shift in a different direction, and I want to give you a heads up about it today. For most of 2021, cruise lines have depended on the CDC for things that they have to do, hard requirements, and recommendations. Cruise lines have passed those down to us through emails and phone calls, and we've done it. But they've started to change, and especially the last 60 days, they've started to change as local governments and islands and ports of call in the Caribbean and in the Bahamas, they've changed things. They have started to come up with their own protocols saying, if you want to visit our country, our island, here's what you need to do. We've seen that, and the first couple of times it happened with the Bahamas and Belize, we didn't think too much about it, but it's really becoming a story faster than what we think. You see, cruise lines, as we know, have to abide by these local recommendations and requirements. We've seen it. We are visitors in someone else's country. We've seen in Belize, I've seen with my own eyes in July, port officials write tickets to cruisers, $50 tickets for not wearing their mask when they were supposed to be wearing their mask. I've seen it with my own eyes. We have to go by these requirements and recommendations. And here's the news today. It's from Nassau, Bahamas. The government announced today that they will extend its cruise passenger vaccine mandate into 2022. The Deputy Prime Minister, Chester Cooper, confirmed this late yesterday. Here's the quote. "We are in active conversation with our cruise partners. We welcomed Virgin Cruise last week, a new ship to our shore. We believe vaccination is the right approach in order to attract tourists to our shores in a balanced, responsible way." He added this, "We note that mostly in U.S. markets, vaccinations are in the high 60 to low 70%. That's general United States population. We know that cruise passengers who come to the Bahamas because of this rule are vaccinated. It is good for the Bahamas, it's good for the tourism industry, and as we extend this rule, we believe it will help us even further grow the tourism business in a balanced way." Now, why does this matter? A lot of you are saying, well, I'm already vaccinated anyway. When I get on, when I plan a cruise, I book a cruise, I board the ship, I'm vaccinated. For a long time, since before the restart, the CDC had control on these protocols. That's who we look to. And we look at the conditional sell order, which is set to expire November the 1st. And all of us who care about cruising are waiting patiently, but with some anxiety almost on what's the CDC going to say in its next issue to the conditional sell order. It will be extended to some effect. It may be exactly what it looks like right now. The time period is going to be interesting. Will they extend it for a full year? I hope not. Is it 3 months or 6 months? I could see that. But the CDC has always had control, and cruise lines, their job has been to communicate those protocols and enforce those protocols on cruises. But we're seeing now local governments that could almost override what the CDC has to say. The CDC could say next March, this is an example. They could say at the end of March, cruise lines can start to book and carry unvaccinated passengers. That may be what the CDC says. But if places like the Bahamas and Belize and Grand Cayman, who's closed, and Turks and Caicos, who's still closed, if they say you have to be vaccinated to come here, then cruise lines would be in a position where they would have to listen to these local ports, these local governments, rather than listen to the CDC. You get what I'm saying here? The CDC, who's had firm control and a monopoly on control, a lot of us could argue too much control, they're starting to see other players in the game. This matters because not all islanders and cruisers are vaccinated. There are unvaccinated passengers for whatever reason waiting to cruise. They're hoping to cruise very soon. And this matters because we could see an extended amount of time where cruise lines from the United States have to require vaccinations, and it could outweigh what the CDC has to say. It's interesting to see. These provisions prohibited cruise ships from calling Nassau, Freeport, and other Bahama islands, including private islands. Remember, Royal Caribbean is affected by that unless all passengers over the age of 12 and older are fully vaccinated before they embark. So that's what we're going to see here. It's going to be interesting to see. There's more vaccine news as well. We've had several questions on this, so I wanted to report on it. The news out of Texas and Governor Abbott. A new executive order signed by Governor Abbott banning private entities in Texas from requiring employees and customers to be vaccinated. Now, we have some quotes here. I've done some research. I've even made phone calls to the Port of Galveston and some officials that I know there, and we're still trying to figure this out. Personally, I don't think this is going to have an impact on cruising. I don't. We can argue about it if you want to. I don't think it's going to touch cruising. We've seen something similar to this in Florida. Again, it has not impacted cruising. So Governor Greg Abbott on Monday issued an executive order prohibiting any entity in Texas from compelling anybody to be vaccinated, including an employee or a consumer. So they can't say, I'm not going to do business with you, or you can't come in my store because you're not vaccinated, or you cannot work for me because you're not vaccinated, okay? And this specifically says an entity that is within the state of Texas. We know that Carnival is not based in Texas. It's not even based out of Florida. And so there may be a loophole around that. In Galveston, Carnival Cruise Line and Royal Caribbean have required nearly all their employees at the terminal there to be vaccinated. That's something that they have required, and it's almost at 100% since they returned to business in July. Disney Cruise Line is also planning to return to Galveston this winter, November the 19th, and they also are going to require that that their employees there at the Port of Galveston be vaccinated. Now, Carnival, Royal Caribbean, and Disney have no comment on this. You don't expect that they would. A lot of times in these situations, less is more. We did, however, hear from the Port of Galveston, and they said that it had no reason to think that the new executive order applied to cruise lines. They do not think that cruise lines in the state of Texas cruising out of Galveston will be affected. That's great news. Here's a quote here. We have no information indicating any intent to change current cruise operations, which a governor's office approved prior to the restart of passenger cruise operations in July. That's Tony Brown, the Port of Galveston's attorney. Okay, cruise operations are continuing to grow back as a major economic driver for our community, our state, in our region. So, the attorney there already involved with the Port of Galveston, he has an interesting line. That first quote there, we have no information indicating any intent to change current cruise operations, which a governor's office approved prior to this restart. So he's saying we have a deal in place already with the state. We already have a deal with the governor's office of how we should operate, and maybe we'll be grandfathered in, and maybe this won't apply to us. We're going to go by that earlier deal, which absolutely makes sense for the Port of Galveston and for cruise lines. I do not think that there will be any impact here. There have been no communications between the governor's office and the port as of Tuesday afternoon. Brown added that when he was asked. Governor Abbott spokeswoman in a statement responded to questions about whether the new mandate applied to cruise ships by pointing to the first part of the executive order. No entity in Texas can compel receipt of a COVID-19 vaccine by any individual. And again, there's been nothing directed here at cruise lines or cruise ships leaving Galveston. So for all of you asking about this new executive order in Texas, I think we'll be okay. I really do. There's other orders in place that is taking care of cruising, and it's wildly successful in Galveston, with Carnival having 3 ships there, Royal Caribbean having ships there, the new terminal going up, the Allure of the Seas coming, Disney coming in the winter. Why mess with it? That is the cruise news today. I know it's a lot. I know it's vaccine focused. That's not always what we want to talk about, but that is the news, and that's what we're going to talk about. We will see you later this week, of course, right here on Island Time. I'm looking forward to Sunday, 7 o'clock p.m. Central Time as we go live and we interact together. Islanders, I hope you have a great day. Please give this video a thumbs up. And if you have not subscribed to this channel yet and you enjoy our content, please do so. We would love to have you subscribe and be a part of this community. Also, find us on Facebook. We keep the conversation going all the time. That is it today, Islanders. We'll talk to you tomorrow right here on Island Time.